Going through a fertility journey, it was the backdrop of our lives, I think, for so long, and everything we did was under the shadow of fertility or infertility and fertility struggles and babies and not having babies and all the rest.
Yeah.
And then, overnight, that lifted.
You could no longer think about other things.
Yeah, it was just gone. It was just like, if this is it and I get to live, I'm just so happy,
With me in studio now is Tara Doonan, and Tara is a PE teacher and a religion teacher from Killishandrew in County Cavan. She's also a runner and has just completed the Antrim Half Marathon. And I think Tara has a very important story to tell. So I think we'll start off with just how and when did you discover you had cancer?
Yeah. So it was back in the summer of 2022, early summer. I was just getting ready for bed one night and taking off my bra and just giving my boobs a good squeeze, as I often do when they've been in the bra all day.
Yes, as we're all inclined to.
And there it was, just on my right breast, just a lump, found a lump. So to be honest, my blood ran cold. I just thought, a lump, that's breast cancer. But very quickly, I was like, hold on a second now, you're only 36. Breast cancer is something that maybe if you're in your 50s, you'd have to be more aware of. So kind of told myself to relax, don't be such a drama queen, calm down. It's probably just a cyst. If it's still there in a week's time, we'll get it checked out.
So that's what you said to yourself.
That's
that was the story you told yourself.
Yeah, very quickly was like, no. Wait,
and again, it's funny because, you're far from the only person that would have that perception that, 36, didn't seem like the right timeline to have breast cancer, which again just shows you how important it is to check your breast, because obviously, it's not ageist. It can be anybody at any age and at any stage of their lives. So I think that message is very important to get across in terms of the checking.
Yeah.
So where did you go from there?
So from there, when it was still there, the lump was still there in a week's time, I said I better go to the GP in my head to think about what will I do about this possible cyst that I have. I'm sure I'll have to get it removed or something. Let's see what the GP has to say. So thankfully she got me in very quickly and checked.
Was she concerned, do you think?
When she heard lump, she brought me in straight away, which is, I thought, brilliant. But then in the consultation, really reassured me, said that she wasn't concerned, didn't think it was anything sinister. The word she used was the lump felt fibrous, which it did. It wasn't that hard pea-sized lump we hear about. It was more almost like a water balloon.
Yeah.
Underneath my skin. So she wasn't concerned, but said that she'd refer me on anyway. So that's what she tends to do with all her patients too, just to get the lump checked out, just in case. Again, thank God.
Which is the correct approach, obviously.
Yeah. So I'm fortunate enough to have very good health insurance. So she referred me to the triple assessment clinic in Mater Private. So I left that appointment again, reassured that this is, my GP's not concerned. Dr. Google says it's probably a cyst. So I forgot about it and got on with the rest of my summer.
Just put it out of your head.
Put it out of my head. More of it's still there. Every now and then, it's still there. But not really I don't know why. I still think about to this day of why or how was I not worried, or I just really didn't think it was going to be. I didn't think I was going to be that person.
Yeah. And actually, I think that experience would be very, very much the same for, even lots of the women we've spoken to already, they would have a very similar experience to that. It's just, it's not me, or there's, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah. That's not going to be my story.
Yeah, that's not going to be my story.
Yeah.
So you held out. So you enjoyed the rest of your summer.
Enjoyed the rest of my summer, and again, in hindsight, thankfully, I wasn't worried because I did get to enjoy the summer. Then on the 10th of August, my appointment came up in Dublin, and again, Aileen, this will tell you how naive or foolish I was. It was coming close to going back to work. So myself and my husband are both teachers, and it was going close to time that we were due back to work. So I said, look, maybe we'll stay the night in Dublin, make a night of it. the last hurrah of the summer holidays, and also to celebrate the fact that I don't have cancer. Like being told that this is just a cyst. Like that's where my head was
So
at.
you actually thought that?
I actually thought that, yeah.
And did you book a hotel and everything?
So I booked a hotel. Again, it's so strange how things work out. So glad I did, because I don't think I would have brought Cavan, my husband, with me if I hadn't have booked.
But
that
because you were going to use it for a night away.
Yeah, he happened to be with me.
Okay.
I definitely think would have said, no, this is fine, Cavan, it's just tests. If I have to get something done about it, you can come with me.
Yeah.
But because it was like we were going to go out that night and stay over, he was with me.
Okay.
So went up and had a mammogram, ultrasound, biopsy. That's kind of the triple assessment. A long day, a lot of intensive tests. And then at the end of the day, I got to see the consultant, who basically brought me in and said from the appearance of all the tests and the feel of the lump, they were highly suspicious it was cancerous.
So even at that early stage, just the same day as the tests, his feeling, his inclination was that it was cancerous.
Yeah. And I really appreciate that, he actually, and he said, we're suspicious that it's cancerous, because he couldn't say it was cancer. But I really appreciate him really drilling home to me that this is it. Like, I'll never forget him. We were still wearing masks at the time, and his eyes like just boring into my soul, like, you need to prepare yourself that this is probably cancer.
He was trying to get that message across.
Yeah, even though we don't have the results, that they were so certain.
Yeah. And again, he's not leaving you to worry and wait. He's giving you a strong indication there.
Yeah.
And how did you take that news when he said those words?
So again, like, it's one of those times that you don't know how you're going to react until you're in the situation, and like pure shock, because even when I was brought into the office, I still didn't think that's what I was going to be told. So shock, but very quickly like, okay, what do we need to do about this? And he started talking about a possible treatment plan. But then when he mentioned, and then of course we'll get scans done to see has it spread. That's when, like, you see in the movies sometimes.
So
like
all the red lights started flashing then, did
the
they?
room started to go blurry. He went into the distance, like I was just out of body experience.
Yeah, this huge reality was hitting you now.
The reality of what cancer can mean.
And how was Cavan, your husband, reacting?
I don't even know. I don't think I was just vaguely aware of him there.
Yeah.
Like, I know he was holding my hand and he was a bit shaky. But silence was kind of the main thing I remember in the room from both of us, really.
So were you able to ask about the treatment plan, or as in, were you together enough to ask about it?
Yeah.
Or was he just explaining it to you?
Yeah. So very, like, it's so strange, and it's great I can talk about it now. Like, in that moment, he kind of went in the distance. I could still hear his voice. As you said, the reality was sinking in. And I remember saying to myself, come back, you have to listen to this. This is important.
Yeah, come back into the room here. Yeah.
And so I came back, and he was talking about the different scans they do to see if the cancer had spread, the possible treatment plan, and to go home now and, don't be looking anything up. Don't be, just prepare yourself, tell people if you want that in 2 weeks' time, you're going to be back here and we're going to have the results of more or less what type of cancer it is and what the proper next steps are. Yeah.
So you leave there, and did you go to the hotel?
We went to the hotel, We went to the hotel, and again, I'm so glad we had it booked, because I wasn't ready to go home. I really wasn't ready to go home.
Yeah, you were really lucky that you had that in your back pocket, weren't you?
The way everything worked out. And like, it was...
were you able to talk to each other, or were you just...
we were. It was just like, what the hell? And, there was tears and shakiness, and I can't believe this, and this isn't real. And, like the symptoms of shock, like sick stomach and shaky. And I don't know how Cavan managed to drive to the other side of the city to get us to the hotel. But it was like, just get me to that room, the hotel room, just get me to the hotel room. And then it was just the constant... can't believe this is happening. But again, like, it's so strange until you're in a situation, you don't know how you're going to react. Very quickly then started like, but this could be okay, and at least I know now, and worst case scenario, I've had a great life, and
God, you really looked down the barrel of the gun there, didn't you?
Like, it's very quickly, again, your life
So it's funny
just
the way your mind
flashes.
works, isn't
So
it?
strange, and like, I'm so lucky I've had, that, like, I have Kevin and, all my family are healthy and well. And I've really had quite a good life,
God.
like,
Yeah.
and then started to think, like, how will I get through this? What do I need to do? And, what steps have I put into place now to help me even through the next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Mm.
And so this is around the 10th of August. When were you due back in school? The end of August?
The next week.
Oh, because you were preparing.
We were back earlier than the students. So the next week. Yeah.
Okay.
So then that was.
Did you be in the space between not getting a confirmed diagnosis? Because at that point you didn't have a confirmed diagnosis. You just had your consultant's inclination that you were looking at something cancerous. Yeah. So with that information, did you share that information family-wise or school-wise, or where did you go with that before you got the confirmed diagnosis?
Yeah, I shared it with my immediate family because I was like, I can't do this 2 weeks by myself. That was just our
It was
choice.
too long, even though,
Yeah, it was. I couldn't behave normally,
Yeah.
And then actually my principal of the school was probably second or third person I told, because I had to, to say, let me think now the timeline. I think it was a week after, and I was like, I can't just ring in sick, or I could, but I didn't know, and I didn't know what to do, and with sick leave and how it works. So I rang him and I told him the kind of the situation. He was so supportive, and take all the time you need, and we'll wait to see.
Yeah,
because I didn't even know what to tell him.
But don't schedule a school return now at this point.
Yeah. Do you just look after yourself? Don't worry about coming back, and then let me know how you get on, and when you get your results of what is. And and in fairness to him, he's like, very much, you might be fine. It could be okay. It might be nothing, because of course he didn't know. He wasn't in that room with me.
Yeah.
So
but it's fantastic to get that support from the school,
straight off,
and from the principal, isn't it?
And that support continued the whole way through my illness. I was very, very lucky to have such a supportive workplace.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah. And so, what date then did you go back to the Mater Private for your to get the actual diagnosis?
So it was 2 weeks roughly from the 10th of August when I got the first diagnosis.
And yourself and Kevin travelled up again, did you?
Myself and Kevin travelled up again, yeah. And it was good news in that it hadn't spread. Yeah, so sorry, in those 2 weeks I had a number of like CT scans, MRI, more ultrasounds. Like, it was 2 weeks of tests, really. So that's all I really needed to hear was it hadn't spread. And then I was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma, hormone negative and HER2 positive. And they were fairly confident that it was treatable, and that there was a very specific treatment plan for me, and it was quite a good prognosis. So that changed everything for me. It was very much then in my head, right, this is just an illness. Like, I'm just going to be sick for a year.
I just need to do what they tell me.
Yeah, just need to do what they tell me, get through it. There's a middle, a beginning and an end, and it'll just be a small window in a hopefully long, healthy life. So that was kind of the approach I took. Yeah.
So you're actually very positive. I mean, I'm dealing with it now, and it'll be okay.
Yeah. I suppose my whole thing all along was, this is tough enough already. Like, this is so tough and so difficult that I'm not going to make it harder on myself by wallowing on the maybe how difficult or challenging it is, or the what ifs, or I just have to stay as positive as possible in order to help me get through this. That was kind of what I had in my head.
So, and your targeted treatment then, which was specific obviously to your cancer, was what? What was he?
So 5 months of chemotherapy, followed by lobectomy, followed by radiotherapy. And throughout that whole time, I was also getting immunotherapy right up until November 2023.
So you were getting the full suite, really,
weren't you?
Yeah,
the full shebang, yeah.
Yeah. And so that treatment then started in
treatment
autumn of 2022.
Yeah. And I was lucky enough before that to get the opportunity to do a round of IVF.
So tell me that. So you hadn't you don't have children. You didn't have children at that point, obviously.
Yeah, no, we didn't. And
were children on the cards?
They were. Like, we actually had been struggling to start a family since probably around 2018. So we already had been on a really difficult, challenging journey of, fertility treatments and heartache and pain and what ifs and all the rest. And actually, I was due to attend my first IVF appointment the week I got diagnosed with cancer. And my poor husband, Cavan, had to ring them and say, we have to cancel the appointment. And it's because my wife has breast cancer. But then, ironically, it was the exact same clinic we ended up going to do our IVF. So
to get your embryos frozen.
To get our embryos frozen. Yeah.
So the same clinic that you were going to
originally
to kickstart the IVF treatment, and now you were going back there.
Yeah,
ended up being
because
the one.
I had cancer.
Because yeah.
So
when did that happen then?
So then that happened very quickly after I was given the full diagnosis.
Yeah.
Like, I think with it that week, like it started that week of, I had seen my oncologist, and then it was, I think, the next day straight out to the IVF clinic. And I think it's important to say that round of IVF was free, because cancer patients, cancer patients, men and women, if it was a man, he gets to freeze his sperm or freeze embryos with his partner, is free as part of a government initiative. Yeah, so
that's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was brilliant.
And did you know that in advance? You didn't?
No.
Wow.
No, had no idea. Yeah, it was just, and that's why this specific IVF clinic, or the clinic that work alongside the government and cancer patients, to provide that service.
And Tara, was it a relief to be getting your embryos frozen? I mean, how did you feel about that, considering that you thought you'd be on a different path, with the IVF, and now you're having your eggs frozen?
Going through a fertility journey, it's really tough. It was the backdrop of our lives, I think, for so long, and everything we did was under the shadow of fertility or infertility and fertility struggles and babies and not having babies and all the rest.
Yeah.
And then, overnight, that lifted, which was, I know it's probably not, this is a strange thing to say, but that's one of the gifts of cancer, or I see it as a gift, is that
you could no longer think about other things. Yeah,
it was just gone. It was just like, if this is it and I get to live, I'm just so happy,
Yeah.
I'm just so, that is more than good enough for me.
So your priorities have totally changed now.
Totally changed. So that longing, that ache, that, deep just longing for children was gone. But that being said, it was still, okay, this is great. We have something in the bank.
Yeah.
There is a chance there, but right now I feel like all is good.
Did you talk to anybody else who was in the same situation as you in that respect?
No, I couldn't find anyone, Aileen. I searched the internet, newspaper articles, listened to podcasts of, some extremely brave women sharing their stories, and a lot of women who maybe were in their 20s and had to freeze their eggs and got the opportunity to freeze their eggs before cancer, and some women who then maybe were almost, or thought they were finished with their family, or maybe weren't too sure if they wanted more. They had 2 or 3 kids, and that was a decision made for them. So I couldn't find a group that was like me, that had already gone through fertility struggles, wanted to have a family, couldn't start a family, and then got cancer. So a lot of stories of people that were fertile before cancer. And then also great news stories of after cancer that went on to then have their babies, but nobody who, was having infertility problems and then get cancer and then and now here's the baby. I couldn't see any stories like that. So that was tough. That was difficult.
Even though I suppose there probably are more people. I mean, it can't be just unique
well, you'd imagine
to have that experience. So, I mean, again, I suppose for any woman who's listening to this today, I think it's really good that you're sharing your story so that they know there's somebody else out there who, is going, has been in that situation with infertility and cancer.
Yeah, and that was, I remember thinking that, if I make it out the other side, I'm more than happy to share my story for that one person even that might need to hear it, that might feel that they're, on their own and that their experience is they're the only one that's ever experienced something like it. So, yeah, hopefully it will help somebody somewhere.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, Tara. And then going back to, so you've now had your embryos frozen, and then you're now going into your chemotherapy.
Yeah.
And how did that go for you in terms of how did your body handle it? How did you handle it?
My body didn't handle it too great. I probably handled it better than my body did. So I was on 2 types of chemo. The first one was extremely tough. So when I got cancer, I was given a booklet, and I'd say it was about 12 pages long, and on each page was a different side effect. But I was told that, you're young, you're fit, you're healthy. Generally, young people fly through chemotherapy, and one nurse told me that it was like a mild hangover. So I thought, this is grand, I'll be fine, and I am fit and I am healthy. And
actually going back on that, you're a PE teacher, and as you said, you're fit and healthy. Did you think being fit and healthy helped you with to withstand the treatments that you were going to be undertaking?
Definitely. Originally I was, and everybody was like, one of the first things it said to me, but you're so fit and healthy. So originally I was like, why have I got cancer? I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything that we're told to do. But again, in terms of
cancer doesn't just
it doesn't discriminate. Like you said, Aileen, it really doesn't. It's luck of the draw, or that's my opinion anyway at this stage. But then, when I got sick, and with the chemotherapy, I was very, very sick. I got all those long list of side effects, hit every single one of them. But bounced back very quickly. So the first chemotherapy I had to get every 2 weeks for the first 10 days. I'll not go into the details, but I just had so many, so many illnesses, so many symptoms. But then by day 10, it would lift and it was gone. And then for the few days, I was totally
had 4 days effectively every 2 weeks to be yourself.
Yeah, not to be, not trying not to vomit, and helped up the stairs, and all those things that come with chemotherapy.
And had you much support, aside from Cavan, family support?
Oh yeah, I'm very lucky. My family are close by, and Cavan's family are close by, and they were fantastic on the phone, and also with things like cooking food for us. That's such a big thing.
Yeah.
Or even just keeping up to date with when your appointments are, and a little text message to say, I know you're back in today, hope today all goes well. Things like that make up, it's only small things, because there's very little
people can do.
Someone can do, and they want to help so much. And, particularly your family, they just don't want to see you going through it.
Yeah.
But just people knowing my schedule felt like they were along for the ride with me.
Yeah. So they felt it, that they were along for the ride with you, and you felt that, you're part of a network here almost. And can I ask, actually, was there breast cancer in your family?
No, nothing. Yeah. Nothing. And I got...
so again, it just shows you again that, I think there's only about 10% of cancers that are breast cancers that are genetic.
Yeah. Very little cancer in general, thank God, in my family, either side of my family, got tested for the BRCA. The BRCA gene, and it was negative. So don't know, one of those things.
Yeah, exactly as you say, no discrimination there. And one of the things that you mentioned to me before is, from having been through your cancer journey, the importance of the advancements that have been made in terms of breast cancer research. So, I suppose what I'm asking you is, do you think there could have been a different outcome for you if, without all, without all those advancements and without medical research and
Yeah.
breast cancer research and
Yeah.
what's being done by the National Breast Cancer Research Institute.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, I think that's another reason why I'm so happy to get the opportunity to talk about my journey and my experience, because I really feel it's so important that, if people can at all in any way to support the National Breast Cancer Research Institute and all the different cancer charities that are out there, because I feel like I'm a real life example of somebody availing of new cutting edge research, because my surgeon said to me that when he gave me the prognosis, that I was very lucky, I suppose, because if it had been 10 years ago or even less, that my outcome would have been very, very different, and it probably would have been fatal. So that's because of I had the HER2 positive, and there's a great drug called Herceptin that's quite, I suppose, new in terms of, cancer treatments, that was used to treat that and save my life, basically. Yeah.
Again, it's so important to get that message across that, all these fantastic treatments, at one stage, they were all clinical trials, so if the research hasn't been pushed forward, then outcomes would be drastically different. And, it's fantastic that the outcomes are so good now. And again, I suppose going back, so after your chemotherapy obviously reduced the size of the tumour. And so then it was a lumpectomy rather than a mastectomy, is that correct?
Yeah. And that was the idea of doing the chemotherapy first, was to try to reduce the size so that we could get a lumpectomy instead of a mastectomy. And it did what it was meant to do. And actually, after my chemotherapy, there was no evidence of cancer. But they still went ahead with the lumpectomy in case there's some in the margins and there's some little cells and, that
but I think an
thing.
Abundance of caution is
Exactly.
very good in those circumstances.
Exactly. So, again, so lucky that I, got to have a lumpectomy as opposed to a mastectomy. And that all did depend on how well my body reacted to the chemotherapy. So even though it did everything in its power to reject it, it obviously worked
working
on the bit that it was meant to work on. Yeah. So, and then...
So you had the lumpectomy, and then after the lumpectomy, you had radiotherapy, did you?
4 weeks of radiotherapy.
And was that okay for you?
I thought that would be the easiest part.
So I actually
thought that the worst of it is over. But I found it really grueling. And I think it was because I was living in Cavan, or I'm living in Cavan, and I was travelling to Dublin every single day for maybe, you're in and out 15 minutes, 5 minutes possibly on the table. So up and down just every day. Sorry, apart from weekends, for the 4 weeks.
It's a long haul, isn't it?
Yeah, and also it was the first time I was left alone for treatment. And that kind of, I didn't think would have an impact on me. So with the chemotherapy, there was actually a buzz around the chemo ward because it's so busy.
Yeah.
And the nurses there, and there's all sorts of characters, and there's crack going on, and it's a bit of a buzz, and you feel like there's always someone worse off than you there, and you just felt like I'm not alone here, know.
Yeah.
And then
because it's women at all ages and all stages and men
and all ages and stages, exactly. Then the surgery, and that kind of happens, and you're home recovering, and you're among family
and that's different
friends.
Because obviously that has to be very personal.
Yeah, and then the radiotherapy, it's nearly the trail end. Everyone else is kind of forgotten almost about almost your cancer journey.
Yeah,
you're still doing it. You're left on the table, and because I suppose it's so toxic, the actual process of the radiotherapy, everybody leaves the room, radiographers, everyone. And it just really hit home me when I was lying there again of I'm the only one that can go through this, and everybody can hold my hand and come along with me, but no one else can do this.
Yeah,
and
at the end of the day, it is just me.
Yeah, which is really, I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah, and especially when that's every day for 4 weeks.
Yeah, and and that was it too. And I mean, people came with me, and it would drive me up on that. But at that stage, I felt enough of a burden on people at that stage, and because it was so quick, it was just bringing someone up the road and down the road for no reason, I probably underestimated the long-term effects of radiotherapy as well.
In what way?
Mainly tiredness and energy. I really thought, like, because it seemed the least invasive treatment.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel anything happening to my body. I was lucky I never got any burns. It was so simple. I thought there'd be no side effects or nothing to it, but I was it really affected my energy levels and tiredness for, I'd say, a good 6 months after it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's not something I've heard people speaking about either.
But again, and this is, it depends, because I've, met so many people through my cancer journey, my cancer friends, I call them. But, and some people would have said the same to me, and others flew through it.
Yeah.
But interesting, my sister is an oncology nurse, and she said to me, just watch out for, I think she called it like the 3-month fatigue after your radiotherapy, that you could be fine for a few weeks or months, and then out of nowhere it hits you.
So at least I suppose you had, that bit of knowledge.
Yeah, because when I was saying, I don't know why I'm still so tired, like,
Yeah.
I'm so tired, and I feel nearly more tired than after, the weeks after chemotherapy, and that's when,
so it's good to get the reassurance that's normal. And you started the immunotherapy then, or was that
was
going on at the same time? That was ongoing,
from the chemotherapy.
From the chemotherapy. Yeah. So when did you finish your treatment?
So November 2023.
November 2023. And currently, where are you in terms of
Currently,
cancer?
Thank God, I'm cancer-free, and very lucky that I'm not in any ongoing treatment either. So I'm just at the stage where I'm just trying to rebuild myself back up again, and try to remember what it's like to live a normal life.
Yeah. And I imagine it takes a good while to get that.
Yeah. Like, again, I underestimated that side of things, really. I thought, like I said at that first meeting, I was like, this is just an illness. Once I get through it and treatment's over, that's it. Forget about it, done. But it just doesn't work like that. I find,
but I think it's really good for people to know that, so that you don't have the expectation that, you literally bounce straight back and you'll be the same person again.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And, again, through a person I met through my cancer journey, they warned me that, look, it's when your treatment stops, the real work begins. And I thought, I know, I'll probably be, won't be myself for a month or two, but after that it'll be grand. But they were definitely right. It just is such a fallout in so many aspects, like physically, financially, emotionally, psychologically,
work-wise, obviously.
Yeah, all of that. Like, it affects every part of your life. But when you're in it, you're surviving, so you can't even think about what else is going on around you.
Yeah, all you're thinking is, I'm just getting through this.
Yeah, and get through the day and get through the week and get next step and next appointment and next scan and that type of thing. And then you're finished, and then it's just all comes crashing in kind of on top of you. And also, I suppose, for me anyway, emotions that I probably couldn't feel at the time or couldn't let in at the time just flooded me in the months after I finished treatment. And that really
is that almost
me.
like that you didn't give yourself the chance to think about you and who you were during it, and then suddenly all that comes back to you afterwards?
Totally. And who I was before as well. Yeah, that's exactly it.
I mean, do you feel, has it changed you as a person? Has it changed your attitude to life?
Yeah, totally. Like, I'll never be the person I was before. It has changed the lens through which I look at life, without a doubt. I know I say this now, but I don't think I'll ever put anything off, or if there's something I did anyway, and this is common enough, you evaluate your life of, like, what do I actually really like to do? What does make me happy? What is pointless, and why was I worrying about that? And is that a worry? And, you just, I suppose, get back to the bare bones of what you want in life and what's important, and then actually live it, instead of just thinking about it before. Now I put into place kind of like, no, that's not going to make me happy, or I really want to do that. I think I'll go for it, and probably go for things that maybe I wouldn't have previously. So changes, it just changes everything. But it takes a while that's a process, you know.
Of course it is, yeah.
It just doesn't happen overnight. And confidence is massively knocked after cancer as well. You know, appearance wise, but also, well, for, you know, I can only speak for myself really. Just your confidence for everything, your self-confidence in
and is that almost like, you know, affecting your confidence, but also does it affect, you know, how you feel about yourself as a woman, your femininity? Did you feel affected by that?
Yeah, I definitely felt I lost myself, even my sense of, like, it sounds so frivolous, like, but my sense of style, and because I had put on,
and that doesn't sound frivolous at all.
Yeah, okay, but I suppose, you know, when you're talking about big serious things, it's like, but I don't.
Yeah, but still, you know, that's a serious thing as well.
I know it is, because it's a big part of who you are and who a woman is, probably.
Yeah.
You know, with the I had to take a lot of steroids to prevent me from being sick.
Yeah.
With the chemotherapy, so, like, you know, you put on a lot of weight and you get that moon face that people talk about, you know, with cancer, and you know, you lost the hair and the eyebrows and eyelashes, and you look so different. And then when the hair is growing back, you're different as well, and you're trying to come to terms with what has happened, and everyone around you is still the same, and they just think, you know, oh, it's over now, so you're going to be the same, but you're kind of grappling with, what the hell has happened to me? Who am I? Like, what do I actually want in life? Because I have a real sense now of how precious life is, and I'm not going to waste another minute of it. So there's just so much. There's just so much to it. The other side, you know.
Is there practical stuff that you wish you had known, you know, while you were, you know, in diagnosis and going through the treatment, that, you know, that maybe you could share with others now who might be pre-diagnosis, awaiting a diagnosis, you know, or in treatment?
Yeah. I'm not sure if there's anything that comes to mind that
like, is there anything you wish you had known?
I suppose that like, you know, the crystal ball to see me here, you know, in 2 years time, 2 years on from my diagnosis, and that I will look like myself again.
Yeah.
You know, and that I will probably be, you know, I used to say to myself when I was going in for the chemo, I'm getting my upgrade, you know, so that this is like, I feel I have been upgraded in a way, because I am more, I suppose you just grab life a bit more, you know, you just go out and you get it and you go for things. So to see, you know, when I was lying sick on the sofa, bald, and, you know, try not to throw up, and that if I could see myself now and know that you will be better and stronger out the other side of this, and it'll happen quicker than you probably think.
I think that's a great thing to get across, because for anyone who is lying in a sofa, you know, and who is, you know, trying to stop themselves from getting sick, and who has lost their hair, for them, I mean, you know, I'm looking at you here in the studio and you look fantastic, you know, and you have hair. And you have lovely clothes on you, so you clearly got your fashion sense back again, you know. So, they're really, you know, again, that's, you know, that's, I suppose that's an outcome. But that's the way that outcomes are now for most women who have breast cancer.
Yeah. No, definitely, yeah.
So, I mean, is there any kind of advice or guidance you give to women who are listening to this?
I think, oh God, yeah, like lots. Be as informed as you can. I think, because to me,
but not through Dr. Google, no.
Not through God, no. Through your surgeon and
your oncology team,
and your oncology nurse, and don't be afraid to ask lots of questions. I was the type of person who wanted to know everything about it, because I said so many times throughout the journey, it's actually fascinating if it wasn't happening to me. You know, like the treatments that they have and what they can do and how they work and how it kills off the cells. Like, it's so fascinating.
Yeah. And you're never going to know that unless you're going through it, are you?
Because you're not going to want to know, really, So be informed. Just take it day by day, sometimes hour by hour, and you know, there's that old adage that I used to just keep saying, like, this too will pass, this too will pass, this too will pass. And it does.
Yeah.
You know, so no matter, when you're in the thick of it and you think, how am I going to get through another day of it, you know, being so sick? And you do, and you will, you know, because it always does pass, and there is light, and it will get better, you know. And reach out for whatever supports are around you. The local cancer care centres are fantastic. You know, the National Breast Cancer Research Institute have a lot of resources and support as well. There's so many in Ireland, like there's so much available. Excuse me. So to actually reach out for it, because really that was invaluable for me.
So seek the information, take the information, accept the support, accept the help.
Yeah. And then just whatever you can to get through it. Like, don't be worrying about, like, they say I should be doing this and they say I should be doing that. I should be eating this. I should have eaten that. Like, just be good to yourself and kind to yourself.
I think that's really important.
You through, like,
you
know?
Yeah.
And don't be worrying about.
And I think you can't really worry about other people when you're going through it, is what I'm getting from you. You just really need to concentrate on yourself, because at the end of the day, no matter how worried everybody else is about you, it is just you. Yeah,
definitely. Like, and I know it sounds so selfish, but I mean, if you can't put yourself first when you're going through cancer, but do put yourself first, whatever you need in the time or whatever you need from other people. But that's all people want for you anyway, you know?
And when did you take back up the running then?
So, when did I? Oh, last summer. Yeah. So, finished radiotherapy. And again, this is a common theme now, my naivety. Like, I was like, right, okay, that's it, done now. Cancer's done. And I want to get back to being fit and healthy and well. Start achieving things, because I have the second, you know, chance at life. And I saw somebody had put up about running the New York half marathon. So that was the following March. So I was like, okay, I used to do a lot of running in my 20s, but it fell by the wayside in my 30s. And I was like, okay, maybe this will be my thing, you know. I'll get out and see how I go. I need something because you say I was still unwell, but not well, and I wasn't as unwell as I had been, but I still wasn't well enough to work or do much, really. So I needed to focus. So I applied for the New York half marathon. I downloaded a Couch to 5K app on my phone. That's how, you know,
that's how far you were going to come back to,
And as I do it, mostly drag my husband along, and started from there and built it up over the year, and was able to run the half marathon in New York in March there in 2023.
Fantastic, Tara.
Yeah. Not 23. I keep saying that. It's
this year.
This year, just gone by. Yeah.
So, and was that your first half marathon?
That was. I had done one in my 20s, but and I'd said never again.
And there you are.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And did your husband do it as well?
He did it, and he's not a runner. Has never done any running. So it was, as everyone kept saying, never mind about you and your cancer. What a great achievement for Cavan. He never has done any running.
Yeah.
So, a pair of us went out, and it was just, like I said afterwards, as cheesy as it sounds, like the most life-affirming experience I think I've ever had. You know, just running through the streets of New York, because they closed down Times Square for it. And, it was just like, I'm alive, you know, I'm alive. And I just get
it must be very emotional, actually, as well. Was it when you came over the line? Was it?
Yeah. It was. It was more emotional, I think, for Cavan, because for him it marked an ending. Do you know?
Yeah.
I was kind of just on, like, high, you know, like just high on life. I think, like, I'm just full of gratitude and happiness to be there more than anything else.
And again, you know, if you have the picture in your head of you lying on the sofa, you know, trying to stop yourself from, you know, from getting sick, and there you are,
Yeah.
coming over the finish line at a half marathon in New York. So, it just shows you how far you'd come, and it just shows you, again, what the outcomes are and how fantastic it is.
Yeah, and it just shows, I suppose, again, my baseline going into treatment of being quite fit and healthy, how it stood to me out the other side, that I was able to do that, and kind of bounce back fairly quickly physically. Now, I still had a lot of side effects, but nothing that stopped me from running. But
because you just ran another half marathon last weekend, did you?
Yeah. Now, at this point, I probably definitely should say I'm a very slow runner. So,
Well, I don't think anyone is expecting you to win the half marathon. As long as you run it, I think that's probably good enough.
Yeah, but that's what it's just, it really has helped me, I suppose. I like to have a focus and something to work towards, particularly when, like I said, I'm not sick, but I'm definitely not well enough to be working full time. So I just needed a focus.
But you'll get there.
Yeah, and the running definitely gave me that. It just, it's exactly what they say. Like, exercise just brings so much to you, your well-being, all the different systems. I particularly noticed it after the half marathon. I gave myself a rest for a month or so, and all of a sudden I kept saying again, like, so tired. Like, I'm so tired. Why am I so tired? And I thought, like, the common denominator here is that I stopped running. So I said, right, I have to get back out. And then when I got back out again, I found my energy levels improving, and the tiredness.
So instead of thinking, I'm tired, so I can't run, you should be thinking, I'm tired, so I need to run.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that was it. And it was hard to get out the door, because it's that thing of, like, I feel too tired to go running. Yeah, but I know if I do go running, it'll stop the tiredness. So if you can just get yourself out the door, that was the big thing for me. So it's just brought so much to me after the cancer journey. It has helped me in so many ways. It helps with the head. It helps with, like I said, the physical after effects of cancer. It gives you a focus outside in the fresh air. Like, it's just, I find it brilliant.
Fantastic. Fantastic, Tara. So the message is there: get your running shoes on, do a bit of walking or running or whatever, but something.
Yeah, and go slow.
Yeah, and go slow. As I say, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going slow. I do a bit of running myself, and I've been passed by people dressed as bananas. That's how slow I'm going. So it doesn't really matter as long as you get over the line. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, and hopefully you are over the line.
Yeah.
In every sense, and that you're. That you go on, and that you're back to school, and that everything continues to go very well for you. And, again, I suppose, thank you for sharing your story. And I mean, every element of your story, including, your IVF journey and the infertility, and, again, even getting the information across that, your cancer outcome could have been a lot different 10 years ago than what it is today, because of research with the National Breast Cancer Research Institute and other cancer charities, and all the medical advancements that are out there. So thank you very much, Tara. It was fantastic talking to you.
Oh, you're very welcome, Aileen, and thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. There's great healing, I think, in sharing stories, and if mine can help somebody in some way, then I'm very happy to do it.
Well, hopefully somebody today is going to get a lot out of, not just somebody, hopefully a lot of people are going to get a lot of what, when they listen to this podcast, we'll get a lot out of what you said and your story sharing. Thanks, Tara.
Thank you.